Hi, I'm Gail Nash, back with another video to demonstrate how to teach English to beginners using an oral-only method. So first of all, I'd like to give you a little bit of information about my background. When I first graduated and went abroad to teach English as a foreign language, I went to Lisbon, Portugal, and I was hired by the Cambridge School of Languages to teach in their program. They introduced all of their teachers to the direct method of language teaching, and so I'm kind of flashing back to those years. I'm going to use the expression the direct method because it is in the beginning an oral only approach. So first of all, a few principles. The direct method teaches vocabulary and simple sentence structures using concrete objects. For example, items in the classrooms, pictures, realia. Realia is just a fancy word for trying to simulate the real object. It relies on repetition, but the repetition is couched in a way that students should always know what they're saying and repeating, and teachers should know whether or not students understand what they're saying, what they're repeating. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute, but let me kind of add one more principle. This method typically houses or groups vocabulary or sentence structures in groups of 3. All right, so for example, using classroom objects, the teacher would hold up the object and say, a pen, getting the students to repeat, a pen, a chair, a chair, a book, a book. Just those 2 words. You might teach 3, 6, 9, whatever you think feels right, vocabulary words, just the 2 words, just making the statement, a pen. But once students are comfortable naming these vocabulary words, these items, you would move into a simple statement, such as, this is a book. This is a pen. This is a chair. Students are, of course, invited to repeat, but this is important. Students should be holding or touching the item when they repeat it. So you wouldn't want students across the room saying this is a pen if they're not holding or touching a pen, because that wouldn't be natural, right? We wouldn't say it that way. We would say that is a pen or something. So with whatever they can touch, this is a desk, this is a chair, this is a pen, this is a book. If they have it in front of them and they can actually touch it, you can invite them to repeat it. Following this pattern, the teacher might teach up to 12 vocabulary words. There's not really a magic number, but when you feel like students have the vocabulary down, you can move on to another sentence structure, the yes-no question. So at this point, the teacher holds up an item and asks a question to elicit a positive response. Is this a chair? Yes, it is. Is this a pen? Yes, it is. Is this a book? Yes, it is. And again, using other known items around the classroom, you would elicit that. Then the teacher holds up an object and asks a question to elicit a negative response. This is when you learn whether or not this is one time that you learn whether or not they're really understanding or they're just repeating. Is this a pen? No, it isn't. Is this a chair? No, it isn't. Is this a book? No, it isn't. So again, going around the classroom with the items that you've taught, the teacher would ask questions to elicit a negative response. When you're ready to introduce a new item to the classroom, you would elicit up to about 3 negative responses. So hold up the new item that you haven't taught yet. Is this a chair? No, it isn't. Is this a book? No, it isn't. Is this a pen? No, it isn't. What is it? It's a marker. What is it? It's a pumpkin. So this method might seem kind of slow and even boring, but let's dissect what students have learned that you can build on following the same pattern. They have learned a simple declarative sentence using a very common be verb, is. They have learned to understand a yes-no question and a WH question, and they have learned short yes-no responses with the pronoun it. The same procedure can be followed to teach plurals. These are pumpkins. These are chairs. These are pens. Following again the same procedure, so that colors, shapes, and sizes can be added methodically. Remember, groups of threes to build on these structures so that after a few lessons, students can understand a sentence such as, is this a big blue pencil? Is this a small orange pumpkin? Yes, it is. Is this a big black chair? No, it isn't, right? So just keep in mind that you want to move systematically, stating the item in the singular. This is a plate. Asking a yes-no question to elicit both positive and negative responses. Is this a chair? No, it isn't. Is this a cup? Yes, it is. And then moving into asking the what question. What is this? It's a key. You can also introduce that and those in contrast to this and these by demonstrating the role of proximity. For example, this is a pen, that is a pencil. This, touching your table, touching your desk, this is a desk, that is a door. So just kind of keeping, again, let the context teach. Really, there's so much that you can build upon with these simple structures. So in conclusion, with just a final tip from my own experience of teaching following this method, especially in the beginning, but I think even now I would do this. I wrote out, as I developed my lesson plan, I wrote out kind of a script of what I wanted to say, the objects I wanted to teach, the statements that I wanted to make, the questions, how I wanted to ask them, in the order that I wanted to present them. Something to keep in mind. But remember, language teaching isn't brain surgery. So a mistake or a misstep isn't fatal. The next video I'll introduce you to the overall. This video was to introduce you to the overall principles of an oral-only direct method way of teaching. In the next video, I'll discuss and demonstrate managing that first class, introductions. You can do this.